Rohit, where are you? He's with Rohit's in Ghana. He's also in field.
I have a very bad network. I'm just trying to somehow log in.
Cool, cool.
So, guys, we're live with the 2024 session, and all over to you, Kalyan.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Nature and Focus Photography Contest announcement. First of all, I think we would like to apologize from our side because these are for 2024 contest. And one of the things we always do is have the festival and we announce the winners at the festival. And we were hoping to do the festival, but because of various reasons, we couldn't actually have the festival last year. And that's one of the reasons we delayed announcing the results. But so we thought, let's not delay it anymore. And I know a lot of you have been patiently waiting for this. So we thought we will announce the results online at least for 2024. Um, so it's been a great, I mean, it's mind-blowing set of images as usual, and we've had great jury, and we had, like always, multiple fights, multiple discussions, and it's always hard to come up with the best bits for the contest. But this has been also year where we've got unprecedented number of participation. We've got close to 15,000 entries from 46 different countries, which is quite unbelievable. And we really want to thank all the people, especially, I mean, we are obviously based in Bangalore, in India, but we also want to thank all the people from around the world who participate in this contest and make it much more richer as well. So before I start, I want to quickly introduce the team here and the jury members. Um, First of all, I want to introduce Rohit, who is my partner in crime in all this. Rohit, if you can say hi.
Hi everybody. Good evening. Thank you all the jury members to log in. Hope I'm audible because I'm in a very bad network. I've driven almost 2 kilometers just to get the network in right now. Thank you, Kalyan.
Thank you, Rohit. And we have Saloni, who's managing everything. She's kind of the back end and front end and side end, everything of Nature in Focus. Saloni, could you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I think at least the participants who are watching us know me because I've been bugging everybody to send me pictures and material, and people have just been so nice. But yeah, it's been a lovely experience.
Thank you, Saloni. I think we don't have all our jury members, unfortunately, because they are spread across time zone. And the problem with nature wildlife photographers is that some of us and most of us are in the field at some point or the other. But I really want to thank the jury members who are here. First, I want to introduce Anish Anderia. Anish, of course, is director of WCT Wildlife Conservation Trust, one of the top conservationists in the country. But he's also an amazing photographer. We all grew up, under his watch as under Sanctuary Asia, and he's been part of the photography community for almost 2 decades now. So, Anish, could you introduce yourself and say a little bit about the contest?
Hi, everybody. So the long wait is over. And Kalyan, as always, it's a pleasure to look at beautiful images of not only India, but from all over the world. And as you said, the jury process was not easy because most of the jury members were in different time zones all the time or traveling and with bad signals. But we somehow managed. And yeah, not without a fight and arguments on what photographs should be shortlisted in the final selection. And again, like every single year, and for me, who's been traveling in India for the last 35 years to some of the most beautiful ecosystems, it was mind-boggling to find images of behavior, images of interactions, which has escaped my eyes and ears. So yeah, it was fantastic, and it's always great learning. You learn a lot when you look at pictures taken by other people. So it was a pleasure, Kalyan, and all the best to everybody, whoever has participated in this extremely competitive, I would say competition.
Thank you, Anish. Our next jury member is Nandini Velo. She's joining us from Pake today. Nandini has one of these rare distinction of being actively part of conservation community, a great wildlife biologist, but who's also worked a lot in Northeast, but not just as a field biologist, but also she's worked at policy level. One of the few people who worked, I still fondly remember, with Environment Ministry, but a very vocal voice in conservation and local communities as well. So, Nandini, could you introduce yourself? I mean, I've introduced, sorry, but say a few words about the contest. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Like Anish, I've also had a wonderful time going to these images and going back and forth at these images. And every time I've been looking at these images, there's always something new to learn, whether it is about new systems with respect to the marine world. And I'm very happy to be part of this photography contest and a jury member, because I also feel it's been a place which merges art, science, and action. And all the best to all of you.
Thank you, Nandini. Our other jury member is Shivang Mehta. He's joining us from really high altitude and really cold weather. I think hopefully seeing snow leopards. Shivang, again, needs no introduction, an amazingly accomplished photographer who's been taking especially breathtaking images with camera trapping and new ways of creative expression in wildlife. And for the contest, especially having Shivang was invaluable for us because I think he's able to tell stories and images in a completely new way. So, Shivang, over to you.
Thanks, Kalyan, and a warm hello from the cold desert of Spiti out here. I'm still in the field, so I don't know if I'm audible right now. But just to talk about the contest, I think the stature of Nature in Focus photography contest has been growing year by year, and it was great to see such a wonderful collection of images, and especially the photo story and the portfolio segment was really amazing. I think it was quite amazing to see such a wide array of stories from across various parts of the globe, in fact. So, all the best to all the winners, but even to all the contestants who have participated in this contest, wishing you all the best, because whether or not you have won, but we as the jury members, we learned a lot seeing your images and seeing your work. So, best of luck for this award ceremony, the long awaited award ceremony.
Thank you, Shivang. And we have our next jury member, Malaika Vaz, joining all the way from New York. Malaika is one of those young, amazing filmmakers who's making us proud across the world. She's a Nat Geo explorer, amazing presenter, and but also been doing a lot of amazing conservation films. So, Malaika, if you could just few words about the contest and your experience, and then we can.
Thank you so much, Kalyan. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today. And I have to say, it was a real challenge to go through so many pictures and choose so few because every single one of them was stellar. I think it made me feel very proud of, young talent, older talent that we have, not just in India, but really across the world. And what I really appreciate, and I think I can speak for all of the other judges on the jury as well, is that we really saw a cross section of images that represented both the beauty of the natural world and also the conservation challenges that we're experiencing today. So I think these pictures obviously are being celebrated today, but they're going to go so much further in being really, really powerful conservation tools to bring attention to issues, to make people care about lesser known species and lesser known ecosystems. And it was a real privilege for us to have the opportunity to go through these images. So, to everyone who submitted, to everyone who took the time to curate their images, and to all the winners and also all the participants today, we're very proud of you and very excited to celebrate your work today.
Thanks a lot, Malaika. So, without much further ado, I will actually get down to announcing our winners for Nature and Focus 2024 contest. So, Saloni, can you start the slideshow?
Yes.
One of the things we always, so this year we'll, like always, we start with Young Photographer of the Year. And one of the things that always baffles us is, oh my God, at that age, I just playing cricket and outside the house, and it's nice to see this amazing generation of photographers going out there taking breathtaking images, and not just pretty images, but hard hitting conservation images. So we had a huge set of images to go through. We've had photographs from people who are as young as 5, 6 years old. And it's really amazing to see the kind of collection. And it was really hard and heartbreaking for us to pick few winners. But, we had to do what we had to do. So here are the special mentions for the Young Photographer of the Year. The first one goes to Jonathan. These beautiful images of these birds, chicks, and backlit shot. Again, it's something that uh, we are not used to. I mean, as professional photographers, even struggle to get this kind of picture. But this was an image that really stood out for us, for somebody who's young photographer to be able to get these amazing images. Our next special mention is by Dinipat. Um, Beautiful image of the sharks, half underwater, half above. Um, Again, we've just marveled at the kind of technical quality, and of course, it's not just any other underwater shot, but to have this kind of technical capability. Malaika, you want to? This is one I remember. It was one of your favorite images, and do you want to just tell viewers why we picked this image?
Absolutely. Well, I think honestly, for a young person to be exploring nature is quite a challenge on its own. Young people often have to stay close to their, parents, and for a young person to go into the ocean and actually go up close with a shark, I think is something to be celebrated in itself. And then to top that, to actually get a beautiful image that represents the ecosystem, I thought was really cool. I also like the way that this has been composed in terms of the framing of the image, and I think that's really beautiful too. So to the photographer who took this, well done, and keep exploring the oceans.
Thank you, Malaika. Um, our next special mention is Sayan Hirani, this beautiful shot of leopard in East Africa. But it's not just any leopard climbing down a tree, but there's a forest fire, well, grassland fire that's happening in the background, which is very beautifully captured. And so we've given more than 3 special mentions because we just really like this set of images. Our next special mention is Maikisma Millen. I'm really sorry if I've got the name pronunciation wrong. Of this, bird colony in Europe. We were really pleased by the unusual angle, the light, the play of light, and the emotions in the image. Our last special mention is by Tinpat again. This underwater shot of turtle feeding on a jellyfish. Very rare behavior captured visually in a very simplistic way. So we really like this image. So these are the special mentions. Next, we'll move on to runner-up in this category. And we normally have one runner-up, but the images are so good that we had to give 2 runner-up prizes in this category. The first runner-up is Rohan Shah, this beautiful drone shot. One of the things is we don't shy away from using new technology for visual storytelling. And I think we have Rohan on call who can join us. So Rohan, congratulations on this lovely image.
Hi, thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And my name is Rohan Shah. I'm a 17-year-old wildlife photographer based in Nairobi, Kenya. And my photography journey over the last 3 years has been amazing. And I've been under the mentorship of Jeffrey Wu. So a little bit about this image. So actually I took it from a helicopter, which is very challenging, and it's actually very scary as well. And to me, what's striking about this image is not only the way the flamingos have like formed a pattern of like a fish when they're flying, but also the contrasting colors of the algae due to different pH levels and chemicals in the water. So this is why this is one of my favorite images.
Thank you, Rohan. And Anish, you're a big champion for this image. Do you want to mention why we really like this image?
Yeah, I think see the apart from the the way the water has created the kind of impression on the floor, and you have the birds like an arrow going. Yeah, it looks like a marine a fish called the spade fish.
Yeah.
And yeah, the saturation, the sky, the blue colors of that. So it's it's landscape, yet it could also go as a macro. So it had both the look of a vast landscape, at the same time it could be like veins in the body. And so yeah, I absolutely enjoyed looking at this image. And congratulations, Rohan, for making this happen.
Thank
Many
you.
more,
Thank you very
many
much.
more flights for you.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Rohan. Congratulations again. Our next runner-up is Danuja Archachi. There's simple shot of this beautiful tusker where you really can't see the face, but teases us with the tusk and the trunk just resting on it. Shivang, if you're there, I know this was something that you had really picked, fought for. So, do you want to say a few words? Okay, maybe Shivang's just not able to join. I think he's in the field. Anybody else you want to add, Nandini or?
What I really liked about this image was that one is that you can is the angle is in such a way that you can see just one task, and it kind of also gives you a feeling of just being very relaxed while you see this image. So there's a lot going on here. There's mystery. There's a sense of peace, and of course, great composition as well. Congratulations, Tanuja.
Thank you. Congratulations, Anuja.
Kalyan,
Yes,
it's also the simplicity. Sometimes you don't have to really work very hard or look at other people's images to make those, to replicate those. These are moments that happen almost every day. So what stands out is that this basically encourages people to go out there and shoot, because you don't always get the best light or the entire animal or the silhouette that you want, but there are images hidden pretty much every millimeter of the forest. So that's, for me, is extremely endearing about this image.
absolutely, Anish. I think, and also, like, I guess, like you rightly said, we don't need to. Doesn't need to be complex. You don't need to see the whole animal. Sometimes the hint of the animal is enough to create breathtaking images.
Yeah.
And finally, in our young photographer category, the main winner is Saluddin Ahmad. This lovely, beautiful, simple shot again of this damselfly peeping through this leaf has really won our hearts. Unfortunately, he couldn't join us on the call, but one of the things, just again for people who are watching this, this is a photograph that was shot on a phone, and one of the things I think we tend to get carried away by is in wildlife photography is that you need big fancy equipment and long lenses and things, but sometimes it's just looking in your backyard for simple things. And for us, especially as somebody who's a young photographer, to notice this and beautifully compose this is something that really um, made us feel very happy. Does anybody, other jury members, want to add anything? It'll be
I think it's really special that, in a world where most people are focused on getting that picture of the tiger or the elephant and traveling to distant parks, and sometimes even the polar bear, not just animals in India, but traveling across countries, to go into your backyard, like you said, Kalyan, is really special. And hopefully, this image encourages so many other young people to go out into the outdoors and tell their stories. And I think when I looked at this, it made me feel an appreciation for the plants in my own backyard. So I'm going to be paying more attention. And that's the power of an image. It can change the way you think about the world around you. So to Salahuddin, congratulations, and can't wait to see more amazing work.
Thank you, Malika. So our next category we move on to is animal portraits. Now, this is one category where it's not looking for the perfect eye level, beautiful shots. We focus on pictures that really show the characteristic of an animal, the behavior, the character of the animal than just identifiable pictures. So again, in this, we've had to pick more than what we anticipated as winners. So here are the special mentions for animal portraits. The first one is this beautiful snow leopard image by Surya Ramchandran. Um, maybe, Shivang, did we lose him? Probably it'll be apt for him to talk because right now he's up in the Himalayas tracking snow leopards. And Anish, maybe you can talk a little bit about why this snow leopard picture is special, different.
Yeah, so yeah, people who have been to Ladakh, people who have been to, Himachal, they know that snow leopards generally are either in valleys or they are above you. So they are either below eye level or above eye level. Whereas this one is actually so when you take leopards of in these kind of trans-Himalayan landscapes, you are actually looking at the animal from the top along the river. But here, this was, I think, taken on the way to Hanle, and this river flows alongside the road. And I think Surya was damn lucky to have this animal and for him to actually go down. And you have to go down a few meters, I think about 20, 30 meters, to be at the level of the water. And to the composition with the water as the shutter speed is slow. I think, yeah, I think it's an unusual photo of a leopard. So that's what stood out, and the way the horizon is, it's interesting way of capturing a leopard. You normally don't see these kind of photos, eye level along the water.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Anish. Our next special mention is this lovely spider by Roman Willi. It's a very unusual shot, and I know Malaika just rooted for this image from day one. So, Malaika, tell me why we picked this as a runner-up.
This is the kind of image that I would love to have framed in my apartment. I think there's something really cool about it. What I found interesting is that the angle really makes this insect seem like a massive, massive creature. I feel like it is that shift in perspective that makes you think about the species very differently. And it also emphasizes that if you're trying to get a good image, you have to experiment. You can't just take that image at eye level and then move on to the next subject. I can imagine that Roman went around taking multiple pictures and eventually found this beautiful shot. So I think this is a celebration of the power of experimentation and innovation. And yeah, it's really cool, kind of dystopian in a sense, and it feels like very Gotham like, which I like about it. So really well done. And I'd love to see more images like this of smaller creatures on our planet.
Thank you, Malaika. Our next special mention is by Lucas. This beautiful shot of cranes in this lovely light, symmetrically balanced. There's something about that image that captivated us, all of us, and congratulations, Lucas, on the special mention. Our next special mention after this is by Satish. For us, I think we look for simplicity, and although this is a silhouette shot, it really fit for us on what a praying mantis, where do you find it normally, how do you see it? And we thought that was beautifully captured in this image. Our next special mention in this category is by Amit Kiran. And Anish, I know you rooted for this image, so do you want to talk about why we picked this image, although it's a very simple image?
I think it's a larvae on the ground and a monster as far as the invertebrate world goes when it comes to prey species. And so a species that lies in wait for prey to walk into rather than stalking it. Um, uh, it's like, when you enter any of our ecosystems, either in India or Africa, for that matter, anywhere, people focus on large carnivores because that's where all the hunting and people want to capture carnivores running, catching prey, even in the water. However, there is so much of interesting behavior in the invertebrate world, and this photo epitomizes that you can really have, if you have the eye, if you have, and most of us are also always looking either eye level in front of you or above us when we are looking for large mammals and birds. but to actually go after insects which are most common is great because you have a magnitude more number of subjects, and you could make it under all kind of weathers. You don't really have to worry about sun or rain or snow, because there are invertebrates that will do their own thing. And remember that these creatures have been around for millions of years. So many of these beetles are more than 200 million years old. So yeah, it looks very, I would say it's a enigmatic animal, and it's very graphic in the way it has been taken.
And also, there's something goofiness about this image that we really liked. It's not something we associate these things with larvae. So, congrats, Amit. So, with that, we will go to runner-ups in our portraits category. We had to give two runner-up images in this. The first one is this beautiful bald eagle by Felipe, and I think we have Felipe joining us on this call. Um, so there's something that all of us loved about it. Malaika, you can add your bits because I think this is one of your favorite images as well.
I really like the action in the image. I think very often we're used to seeing species like this, either in the sky or, birds somewhere. But to see this kind of mix of the elements and the animal, I think is really special. I would love to know more about the story of getting this picture as well, because I feel like it's very unusual and very unique. So, yeah, definitely a really great job, Felipe.
So, Phil, I think you're on the call. If you can switch on your camera, it'll be great to see you as well.
Camera would be a little bit tricky here. I'm in the dark, in fact, and it's already night. I'm already almost at bed. It's 10:30 here. I'm in Japan currently. And sorry, but I don't know if
No
it's
problem.
work or not. I mean, it's pretty dark. Okay, so for you, Malika, tell you the story. It's the scent takes place into the Nemuro Strait. This is on the north part of Japan. It is nearby the peninsula of Shikoku and in Hokkaido. And this is a place where you have drafting ice, and the eagles are used to catch fish when they are released by the fishermen. They catch many things, and then sometimes they throw away what they don't want, and the fish can be sent to some drift ice or just floating, and then they can catch it. And yes, this is exactly what's happened. In fact, this eagle, this stellar sea eagle, was just on the graphics, and the eyes was moving because of the waves. And here it looks like it's catching something, but in fact, it's not catching, just making a kind of equilibrium. It's just avoid to be submerged by the wave. And it seems that it's catching something, but here is not catching anything. It just the attitude of taking a new equilibrium after the wave hits the drafting, the little iceberg. I don't know how to name it exactly. It's something like a piece of ice 20 by 30 meters, more or less.
That's super cool. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
Thank you, Phil.
you're welcome.
Congratulations. And like I said, even though it's a portrait category, just is different because we're used to seeing different pictures of these eagles. Just having that lot of energy in the picture really stood out for us. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Our next runner-up in animal portraits category is this Water Buffalo by Prashant. We have Prashant who's joining us as well. Anish, maybe you can talk a little. Prashant, okay, we have him. Prashant, we can't see your face. Sorry. Anish, you can add your bit. Sorry, and we'll let Prashant talk.
Yeah, I think again, water buffaloes not a rare animal. Most people overlook buffaloes because they share their habitat with far more charismatic species. Could be rhinos, could be tigers, could be Barasinga elephants. And buffaloes are actually, most people may not be aware, are very, very important architects of floodplains. In fact, they were widely distributed before we usurped their habitats. And now Kaziranga, Orang, and some of the other places in the Northeast and also East India have the last remnant population of these animals. And here, this particular individual is in its elements, with all these. So it's a very funny image, but at the same time, extremely strong because there is an eye contact with the camera. So I think many things about this photo stood out. Although, again, this is one of those pictures that probably uh, is right there in front of you, but we miss it in our urge to keep looking for charismatic species. Congratulations for making this image stand out when you have so many action images that we had to sift through.
Congrats, Prashant. Can you talk a little bit about where background of the image? And congratulations again.
Thank you, guys. I'm so thrilled and overwhelmed with this win. I would like to thank the jurors, especially. I've never been into one of these competitions before, and I would like to thank all of you. Well, this picture was actually in a waterhole in a park called Vilpattu National Park, where the most elusive cat is what we are going after most of the time, which is a leopard. But I took these shots while looking for a leopard. So, and one of my colleagues who were with me, they said this looks a winning photograph to him. So, if he's watching, I must tell him it is all. Uh, this picture depicts a lot in water, and this weeds. He just came out of the water, so the weeds came over his face and his structure. Thank you very much. Anything else you'd like me to add?
Thank you, Prashant. And I think it was a lovely image. It really stood out for us, simplicity of it as well. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
And now we move on to the winner in animal category. The winning image is this beautiful portraits of a leopard and cub by Prithvi B. We are still amazed. We still are quite curious how this image was made, and this was in South India. So, Prithvi, congratulations, and nice to have you on call. Everybody just loved this image, and it'd be great if you can tell us a little bit more about the backstory and how you made this image, and how the hell did you know the leopard was going to come there?
Hey, thanks a lot. So yeah, this was shot in.
Very well.
Uh,
Yeah, it's better now.
okay, so this was shot in Mysore. I've been trapping from past 8 years now, 9 years maybe. So I tracked these leopards for quite some time, like yes. There was a banyan tree, and around this banyan tree, we used to see a lot of dog collars around, a lot of markings as well. So that's how we got to know like leopard activity is more in this area. So I set up 3 flashes in this area. So you can see the backlit of the cub as well. So the mother was climbing and the cub followed her. Yeah.
And how many camera nights? Was this in a forest or was it in an urban area? We were very curious.
It's in an urban area around Mysore. Yeah. So it's not very far to the nearby village.
Great, Prithvi. Congratulations on this. Anybody or jury members, you want to add any comments on this? Nandini, you haven't spoken well much, so yeah.
I really like this image because it's almost like the background is the foreground, and there's so much of movement that's on the foreground. And of course, I love the backlighting on the cub. So I was also very curious to know about how this image was taken. And thanks for sharing, Prithvi, and congratulations again.
Thanks a lot.
Great. Thanks a lot. Congrats again, Prithvi. Next, we move on to wildscapes and animal in their habitat category. This is a category where we award pictures where the images showcase not just the portraits of these animals, but it tells a little bit about the kind of landscapes and the habitats they live in. We also celebrate by itself landscape shots that really stand out for us. So in wildscapes and animal in its habitat, we have multiple special mentions. Our first special mention is by Tibor, this beautiful picture of bats entering a tree hollow. Um, and Anish, maybe I can ask you to talk a little bit about. I know you. This is one of your favorite images in the category.
Yeah, I think it's just the composition. It looks like an eye vertical, and the slow shutter speed to it's a multiple exposure, and the bat is creating that path as it moves. So I think there's something very, very I don't know, very, very soothing about this photo and the light. Normally, photography is about light, and we like to see well-lit images, but to use this light with subtle angles and just illuminating the the edges of the hollow, along with the texture there is beautiful. And again, um, the more simple the images, the more difficult it becomes for juries because um, there is so much of there are so many images that will have action happening there, but then the simplicity, and so we have sometimes not looked at a certain image because it looked in a certain way in a smaller screen, but because we go through it, because there are so many jury members, it always helps someone, it catches the eye of somebody, and then suddenly you have an image which really jumps in the first few images in a particular category. This is one of those absolutely ethereal. Enjoyed it.
I'd also
Thank you,
like to
Anish.
add that for this image, there's a very famous essay called How to Think Like a Bat. And I feel the photographer, just based on the lighting and his understanding of bats, kind of captures that. So I've also really loved this image.
Thank you, Anish and Nandini. Um, our next special mention is this picture of Banal by Udaya Shankar. Um, Again, this is one of the things we like is urban. We have to treat urban places as habitats too. And for us, just having this beautiful traditional temple with all the sculptures, but this barn owl using that as its habitat, and for barn owl, they are very urban species as well. So congratulations, Udaya Shankar, for this lovely image. Our next special mention is by Prashantan again. This leopard peeping out. If you photograph follow leopards, you know how amazing they are at hiding, and this just really captures that sense of sneakiness of a leopard. Congrats again, Prashantan. Our next special mention is this Wild Boars Hibernating by Lucas again. Unfortunately, he couldn't join us. Again, in European winters, you see a lot of animals migrating, sorry, not hibernating together, and this drone shot captures the small families sitting together in the snow, which we really enjoyed. Our next special mention is by Sarang Agarwal. Again, a barn owl, but this is a more modern building, where again they are able to make these as urban habitats and use these as urban habitats. So congratulations again. Our last special mention is by Arkapura Ghosh. If you look carefully, there's a hair in there hidden in snow. Simple image, animal just blending into the background. Very good camouflage with the rock. So congratulations on this winning image. With that, we'll come to the runner-up, and winners for this. Sorry, we also have one more last special mention by Hira Punjabi, who's an old friend of many of us and legendary photographer. This beautiful cranes from Japan and this play of light and snow really stood out for us. And sorry, we have one more. I keep forgetting this. We have one. This one. I think there's one category where all of us couldn't. We had to pick all these images. So Tagore, again, congratulations on this beautiful image of these birds flying over this salt lake and this beautiful play of patterns and textures. So congratulations on this. With that, we move on to runner-up. Our runner-up for this category is by Ram Prasad Datta. I think we have Ram Prasad on the call joining us, but Nandini, maybe you can add a little bit about why this image.
I like the fact that this image is a very uncommon habitat, and something that we wouldn't really think about with respect to a wildscape. And I also like the fact that there's movement happening on this image, and yet there is a very clear focus on the subject. So I really like the contrast and the composition that is happening here. Congratulations, Ram Prasad.
So Ram Prasad, can we get you? You're muted. You probably have to unmute yourself. It'd be great if we can see you too, but if you can talk a little bit as the image and what made you think, I mean, take this picture, which is most of us will just walk past it, but this beautiful image that you captured. Ram Prasad, you're on mute. Maybe you have to unmute yourself. Unfortunately, I don't think we can hear you or see you. Yeah, looks like unfortunately we can't. It's not working. But yeah, I mean, geckos, they're amazing creatures who can make their home in forests to as good as well in urban areas. And in this case, just looking at the world through this window and beautiful play of light and shadows just really work for us. Congratulations, Ram Prasad. Shivang, if you're there, you can add it because this is one of your favorite images. Add a bit about this image as well. Shivang's also not okay. All right. All right. So we move on to the winning image in Wildscapes and Animals Habitat, and the winning image is this breathtaking picture of Andean bear by Jackie, and I think we have her joining on the call. Hi, Jackie. Congratulations on this breathtaking image, and it just blew all of us away. Can you tell a little bit about? I mean, for us, I think a lot of us actually were very successful because we thought it was a painting. Frankly, it didn't look like a picture. So can you tell a little bit about image, how we did this? We want to know everything.
Well, yes, and thank you so much to Nature in Focus, all the jurors that took an immense amount of time to go through these incredible images. I do not envy your task of trying to choose winners. But yeah, this was an incredible opportunity in Ecuador in the Andes. We were able to spend some time with a very rare spectacled bear, or Andean bear. And the effect that you were referring to on this image is actually in part the weather. While we were there, of course, we get a lot of pop-up thunderstorms, and we had a torrential downpour. So we were kind of clinging on a tiny little muddy pathway, slipping and sliding down, trying to keep our camera equipment wedged against the rocks so we weren't disturbing this beautiful big male bear. And fortunately, the water kept coming down, but the sky opened somewhere and let some light in finally through the canopy. And we were able to see that beautiful spectacled mask of his as he was looking around and enjoying his peaceful slumber in the big old fig tree branches. So it was a very ethereal feel, and it was exciting to see that the camera was able to capture that.
And there are very few images in the world. I mean, forget breathtaking, beautiful images, but just regular portraits of this bear in the wild. So for you to capture something like this as beautiful as a painting is just amazing. And congratulations, Jackie. I mean, this is really breathtaking for us. And I just want other jury members to add in your points to this image.
I'll go in first because, you know, uh, I mean, we were all quiet actually. We didn't know what to say about this. It's like a poem, and the bear in its habitat with all these moss hanging down. You got I mean we got transported into this habitat. It is very surreal. Um, Also, to get the dark body of the bear, because normally it would get underexposed in this kind of situation. So for you to be able to get the details on the animal, even in an overcast weather, I think the greens and all those things that put together is like a canvas. I would rather have it as a painting in my home and basically use your photo and call it a painting.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Nandini, do you want to add? And just before Nandini, you say something, I think some of these endangered species, I think it's really important to capture breathtaking images like this, because only then people will really care and want to learn more about these animals. So I just find it really breathtaking.
Thank you so much.
Me too, and congratulations, Jackie. I've also felt that this image is like a poem, a painting, and it's also it also makes me want to feel the air and breathe in the air there. So, thanks a lot for that, and thanks for bringing this important species to all of us here.
Well, it's a huge opportunity to share their story with the world, and thanks to the great things you do, the coverage this provides, hopefully we'll find some new ears and eyes to share the spectacle bear with. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jackie. Congratulations again. So we now move on to our next category, which is animal behavior. Now, we always think as photographers that every animal out there has been photographed, every animal behavior that's out there has been photographed. But every year we are surprised by the new set of images, new kind of behavior. And sometimes it's a behavior that we know, but it's been captured in a completely new way, which baffles us. So here are the special mentions for the animal behavior category. First, we have Anirudh Lakshmi for this shot of tiger hunting a wild boar. Now, tigers, we've seen a lot of hunting pictures, but this stood out for us. And Anish, maybe you can mention a little bit about why this image stood out.
Well, it's very difficult nowadays to take a tiger picture that will get noticed at competition, and especially international competition, because tigers have been overdone for the right reasons. I mean, it's a charismatic species, extremely majestic. But to get an animal, and today the cameras have really improved, and so these kind of images were almost impossible to make, without a shake, because the ISOs have really gone to a different level, the crispness of the photo. But to have an animal in flight with the claws almost coming out, it's like the tendons have pulled the claws out, and within a fraction of a second, many of those claws would hit target. And to really look at this pig in the dying moments, actually, a fraction of a second before the tiger would have been all over the pig. So it's a beautiful image, again, extremely eye-catching. And maybe 10 years ago, this would have won this award. But it's amazing. It's one of my favorite images, and I'm biased towards tigers. I've spent the last over 2.5 decades uh, conserving this species. So all the fantastic stuff, Anirudh.
Thank you, Anish. Um, our next special mention in animal behavior category goes to Mercy. There's orca swimming with this manta rays. Lovely portrait, and so much. It's not just a portrait, but like I said, it's a behavior category of these different species interacting together. So we're slightly running short of. I've been reminded that we're running short on time, so we'll kind of keep it tighter. Our next special mention is by Massimo. Sorry. Again, oceans is one area where a lot of us don't know much about. In this case, it's this jellyfish kind of thing, which with multiple species hanging out together, and through this transparent body, you can see this box fish inside and things like that. Really stood out for us. So congratulations on that. Next special mention is Pradyut Kumar, the spiny tail lizards having a territorial fight, beautifully captured eye level, and just I mean, it's something that we haven't seen before. So congratulations on that. Our next special mention. Okay, so that was the last of it, and we have two runner-ups and winners in this category. So the first runner-up in animal behavior goes to Padmanava Satra. And I think we have him joining on the call. Padmanava, congratulations. A lot of us like this picture because it's something we give a lot of weightage to, not just species far away, but something that you can capture. But there's so much energy and behavior in this. So can you talk a little bit about what made you capture and how you captured this image?
Is actually a slow shutter shot, and I captured it in flashing the fire in rear curtain sink. At first, I noticed that they have captured a big dragonfly, and they were slicing them apart to transport it to their leafy house. And after that, I thought that I can take that differently. So actually, as it was moving in a single line, so that I thought I can keep my focus plane on setting the camera on tripod, and tried and set the camera on rear curtain sink and fired the flash in using diffuser, so that I can keep the light soft, and tried this kind of shot. That's it.
Congratulations, Padmanava. It's a winning, lovely image. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We have another runner-up in this category. This new taken by Tagore. Again, he's won multiple awards for us. Just capturing this in a different perspective, looking up with play of light, really stood out for us. So congratulations again on this amazing picture, Tagore, for this second image there. And the winning image in animal behavior category is this beautiful drone picture of sharks by Angelina Albi and August Paula. And I think we have you on the call. Congratulations, folks.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
And I mean, again, for animal behavior, this is something we don't use, and there's just so much poetry in this image. But before I ask you, I want to ask Nandini and Anish and Shivang if you are able to there, because I think you've gone through this image and add your bits to it.
Nandini, you're on mute, I think.
So congratulations, Angela and August. What I really like about this image, and it was definitely a winning image for me, was the movement within the movement. So there's larger movement that's happening, and just the shapes and patterns one sees on this image. And of course, very important stories to be told about sharks and how they are portrayed in storytelling. So I just think that it's a very important image for also the times that we live in, and also the difficulties that the marine world is going through.
Yeah, I think Exactly, Nandini, and to actually have the sharks. I don't know which schooling fish this is. Could be trevally, or I don't know what it is. They will. The photographers are here, so they'll probably tell us what it is. But these sharks are actually, they work together to create a tighter ball of these fish, and then once the ball is formed, then they hunt individually. So it's a group that forms this, but then each one of them will go. Unlike mammals like lions who can work in tandem, but however they will then share the spoils. Whereas these guys will go and take individual fish out in a school, and the fish will come together to confuse this. It's fascinating. Plus, the kind of it's like an alphabet that has been created because of the three sharks there, and it's quite fascinating. Simple image, yet very, very striking. Congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats, Angus. We'd love to hear your story about this image. Over to you.
Yeah, so we are both scientists and we are fascinated by animal behavior and in particular animal group behavior. And now we are, in fact, trying to learn more about the sharks and the fish schools. So these fish are hardy-head silver sides, and the sharks are black tip reef sharks, and they aggregate in the very shallow waters in the Maldives. So maybe I can say a fun fact about this is that often people think these are very big sharks, but these in fact are actually juvenile sharks and maybe 50, 60 centimeters large. And they gather in the shallow waters to also hunt on these large fish schools that in fact, as you already mentioned, they aggregate for the confusion, for the predator, and to have a better escape response. So maybe August, you want to add something about this?
So why we are attracted to this system, or why we went to look for it, is because these huge groups of fish, they are so cohesive together, and they move together, and somehow they have to coordinate, and somehow they have to do decisions as a huge group without even the ability to talk to each other or like communicate directly. But still we see them moving around and coming to the beach together, and then at one point they just suddenly leave and they go all together in one direction. So that's really what fascinates us about this system.
I spoke about trevallies because I thought these are big sharks, but because they're tiny, they bamboozled me. But it's
actually,
interesting. How deep was the water?
So the water is maybe
6-7 meters.
60 centimeters or so, like maybe around our.
Wow.
We can walk in the water and still not be completely underwater. And so if we try to take photos underwater, we are almost touching. And about the trevallies, there are also trevallies, of course, around the area, and they also hunt on the same fish school. Is that what you also wanted to add? So there are trevallies, but in fact, sometimes the big trevallies, adult trevallies would be as big as these sharks, but juvenile trevallies are a little bit smaller, and so they also blend in this system actually, and we see them often. Yeah.
Congratulations again, and it's nice to see you guys using drones for your scientific study. And I also want to say something. I think you were very keen on sharing this photography prize with your team as well as named, and I think that's very kind of you, because I think as photographers, it's very rarely we work alone. It's always a team, and they never get the credit. So hats off to you guys for acknowledging for the rest of your team as part of this award.
Thank you so much, and thanks for pointing that out.
Thank you. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
So our next category, we move on to creative nature photography. This is where we don't get into the technical aspects of it, both the species or camera angles, but trying to represent nature in a very aesthetic, beautiful manner. So here are the special mentions in creative nature photography. First off, we have this beautiful picture by Omkar and Shivang. If you're there, I would love you to add comments, because this was one of your favorites. We also have Omkar, I think, joining us on the call. Omkar, so I didn't want to give it away because you were there. And what caught us was the mystery of it, but there's a lot of science behind this image. So, Omkar, if you can tell us a little bit more about the image, that'll be great.
Thank you, Nature in Focus, and the jury members for selecting this image as one of the special mentions. Uh, One is, of course, this was on a very regular path that we follow during some of our night trails that we do in Goa. And for a moment, we just put off the lights, and I just saw something glowing on a tree bar. So, not realizing what it was, first we couldn't actually see what it was. It was like moonlight, like glow. And uh, then on closer observation, I could see that there are some caterpillars which are moving. So then I went back the next day and took some images with slow shutter speed just to see what it was. And the light is basically I use some flashlights, just tie them in different places on different trees to get this rim lighting effect. So we still don't know what exactly these worms are. There's some fly larvae. So we are also working on the research part of it right now.
Thank you, Omkar. Anish or Nandini, any of you want to add?
I just want to also give a special heads up and appreciation to Omkar for actually taking just an incredible number of people to show the nightlife of Goa and moving away from what the other stereotypes about Goa are. So thanks, Omkar.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
I know about Omkar. I've been with him. He's a walking encyclopedia and now even a good photographer. He's a birder by, his first love is birds, but now I can see that he's also moved into these lesser life forms. And even Shivang and Saurabh both were there with him. I think when this happened, because I've seen a photo from Saurav as well. So Omkar, the next challenge is to figure out what this is. And I want to ask you, why did you miss this? You've been walking in the night in Goa pretty much so many, all your monsoon months. So nature is just amazing. So millions of people living in the forest, visiting
And I
forest,
mean,
photographing forest, yet you
uh,
find things which nobody know. And this photo was something similar was sent to me from the field by Saurabh, and I was also unable to identify. Obviously, it looked like a larvae, but we don't know what species it is.
yeah, it's the same thing.
Great. Thank you,
Excellent
Omkar.
photo.
Congratulations again. Our next special mention, in creative nature photography, goes to Linto
Oh,
John.
beautiful.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we couldn't have Linto on the call, but yeah, again, just simple, beautiful aesthetic image. Our next special, Anish, you want to add something? Shivang, Anish?
For paucity of time, but yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, sorry, we
Some
just,
images you can't really speak. They just are so beautiful, symmetric, amazing.
thanks. Our next special mention is Sarthak Agarwal. We just love silhouettes, some simple shapes without too much information. And this, for us, display of the squirrel and the bird and the simple lines worked really beautiful. So congratulations on that. Our next special mention.
Kalyan,
Yeah,
to me, when I saw this, I kind of felt like it was one small section of a zebra,
yes,
and
that's
there
another
were
thing.
two parasites sitting there somewhere. As in, it looked like that. It still looks to me like a zebra in Africa, tight shot.
Thanks, Anish. Our next special mention is Raghuram Anandana, this beautiful macro close up. I forgot what the species was. Do you remember, Anish and Nandini?
It's, I think, the wing of a fly, I think.
Yes, sorry, wing of Saloni.
I'll
So
just
maybe
I'll just jump in here. This is a close up of a mosquito wing.
mosquito. Yes,
Wing,
sorry.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, mosquito is a fly. So.
Yeah, in fact, one of the reasons why we picked this, I think mosquito is one not animal, insect that we ignore and vilified upon, but looking closer, they do look beautiful. Our next special mention is This long exposure by Rajan Desai. This is not long exposure, it's multiple exposures. It really gets a sense of these gannets that are nesting in Northern Europe. Just gets the sense of energy, them coming back to the nest, that really captured in this image. Next special mention. Okay, so that was last of the special mentions. So the runner-up in Creative Nature Photography award goes to Tibor again. Now this is very simple image, but it captures seed dispersal that happens in nature, which we really liked. Unfortunately, Kunjan is on the call, but congratulations. Nandini, Anish, any of you want to add?
No, for me, I think the seeds, I mean, seeds really fascinate me. How a few ounces of a particle really can transform into a 10-ton tree, a giant that lives for more than sometimes 2000 years. So it's amazing to see that. And so, I mean, if you talk of um, a subject which is common, then nothing can be more common than seeds. And yet to capture this as it comes flying down, and it goes spiraling because they are wind dispersed. As you can see, there's a wing there. So these wings disperse. See, several trees across the world are like that, and they can cover some distance when they fall off from about 50 to 100 feet. So to capture that motion, and also that spiraling motion is visible through. So it actually talks to you. You don't really have to write anything when you submit this particular photo. Fantastic.
Thank you, Anish. And the winning image in Creative Nature Photography goes to Kai Koloditz. Again, back to simplicity, just the play of lines and colors and these snails on these different lines just worked for us. So Nandini or Shivang, maybe you guys can add in. Shivang's joined in. Shivang, this is your one of your favorite images through the contest. Maybe Shivang, we can't hear you. I don't know if you are speaking. Okay, maybe we lost him.
He's in Spiti, so.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Nandini?
Same as you, Kalyan. I just think less is more. The simplicity of this image, and it also grows on you as you see it time and again. So I just also really love this image, and congratulations, Kai.
Thank you. Next, we move on to the conservation photography category. Over the last 2 years, we've named it after Ramki Srinivasan, who was a dear friend for many of us, who also deeply cared, amazing photographer, deeply cared about conservation, who started Conservation India, but he was also instrumental in many environmental campaigns across India, and who really always championed for ethics in photography as well as using photography for environmental causes. So here are the runner-ups for Conservation Photography Award. The special mentions first. The first of the special mentions goes to Hiran Kotri, and this depicts the issue of maybe issue/livelihood, depending on how you look at it, issues in some northeast parts of India. So Nandini, I think this was an image that you feel strongly about, and love to hear your thoughts on this.
Actually, I had a lot of comments on this category in general because I think what the photo depicts is important, but it's also as important to see how you tell the story. So I just think that in terms of keeping not in mind only Ramki's ethics, which he was very considerate and he thought deeply about. I just think that conservation photography in general has to do a lot more thinking of how we take these photos and what are these photos also saying. So I think for this whole category, just the aspect of consent, the danger of a single story, has been important reflections that all the jury members deliberated upon.
Thank you, Nandini. Anish, do you want to add
Yeah, so
anything?
no, no, yeah. So we've all been to these parts of India where uh, wild meat is part of subsistence of these communities. And remember that if you can look at the kitchen, you can actually see that these people are really living in remote areas. They don't have facilities, and they have evolved along with the forests. Many of us have, but then a few generations before us, we migrated into the cities, and now we have a different life. So if my kitchen had something like this, it would be offensive. But for a community that lives there and subsists on nature and are actually not injurious to nature because they are still in low densities. This photo, therefore, is important because people living in the city should understand, and a lot of people, especially on the social media, don't just take a few seconds to comment on something, but these kind of photos, so we while we were actually judging this, we were very, very conscious that that the photos that we selected, we deliberate upon and we make sure that we don't portray it in a wrong light. So for this, I think the emoji, the composition is quite interesting with the dog, the lady who is working there, and the species that some of the photographers and wildlife enthusiasts will travel thousands of kilometers to see, but for them it is simply a game of survival. So like any other species, human beings also live like several other species in some parts of the world, and we must be mindful and also respectful of them.
Thank you, Anish. Thanks a lot. I think one of the things I just want to add as a member of this is also, like Nandini mentioned, we need to be careful about these conservation stories because one man's poison is other man's something else, right? So although we could be vilify this, but for the local communities, it's their sense of livelihood. And the other big debate that came through this was also a sense of consent, because we are showcasing people and we make our own judgments on those people, whether the person's doing the right thing or the wrong thing. And for somebody who's doing conservation photography, I think the same rules of journalism apply, which is, I think if you're showcasing people in your pictures, you probably need consent from those people and making sure that they can be featured in environmental and conservation stories. So we move on to the next special mention. This beautiful image depicting climate change by Lucas, who's again won this. His next image is one. He's won the image again. This image showcases how, because of extreme weathers and changing conditions, a lot of habitats around the world are changing. In this case, you see a lot of dead fish and the implications of that. Our next special mention is Satyaseelan Subramanian. Of again, one thing we felt was river pollution was a big part that gets little attention. In this case, it's an oil spill in coastal India, and just having that boat gives a sense of scale of the oil spill and how it impacts health as well as livelihoods of people. Next special mention in conservation category.
Kalyan, can I add one more thing to that particular? Can you go back if possible? So it's sometimes if you go on a drone or a helicopter, you will see this. This may not be an accidental oil spill. There are so many trawlers and so many boats that keep going into the ocean, that there is leakage from their tanks, and many a time the entire water. So if you are at the level of the water, you may feel that the water is not polluted at all, but it's
Right.
because of that height and the angle with which the light is hitting the surface is when the pollution becomes visible. So that's very interesting about this. But yeah, of course, oil spills are a big threat. But even if you don't have very discernible kind of oil on water, there is no river that is devoid of this particular design because there is so much of trawlers and so many boats that go in every day.
Okay. Thank you, Anish. Our next special mention goes to Somnath. This has been in the news lately thanks to Delhi elections, but again, very powerful image of depicting river pollution, but also, as most Indians, our faith and religion depends and have different relationship with rivers. These are some of the sacred rivers, and this is how we treat. Very powerful image. So, Somnath, congratulations. So with that, we come to the runner-up in this conservation category, and the award goes to Chaitanya Rawat of this beautiful portrait of a leopard in an urban habitat. I'm from Bangalore, and it's been in news all over Bangalore, recently leopards being spotted and things like that. But leopards are also curious creatures. And Chaitanya, we have you on call, and I think Chaitanya was on flight. I think he's managed to reschedule his flight to be on the call. So thank you for that. And congratulations on runner-up image. And we would love to know this backstory and why you captured this.
Thank you, Kalyan, and thank you everyone from Nature in Focus to provide us with the great platform to, tell our stories. This particular picture, I actually came to know from some sources that there is actually a family of leopard, basically a mother and a sub-adult cub, living in an abandoned building which adjoins one of the Aravalli range. So it was one of the night, and it was around 8 p.m. It was quite dark, but I just did a long exposure shot. I had known that there is a leopard over there, so I just did a long exposure shot, and thanks to leopard that it did not move a muscle, and that is the reason why I was able to get a sharp image. And yeah, that is the behind story. And there were majorly two things that I conclude out of this. One, of course, the great adaptability by these big cats. I mean, they are so closely staying with us, and a lot of times, a lot of us don't even have an idea that they're staying there. And another was, of course, the loss of space for them. And like one theory I read about, that as India, touchwood, is becoming very good with its tiger population, these leopards are somehow pushed towards the peripheries, and this is increasing a lot of human animal conflict. So I mean, this picture depicts both the aspects, and yeah, here you go.
Thank you, Chaitanya. Congratulations again. I think that was just the framing of it, the curious nature of the leopard, and the fact that they can live in urban environments, just beautifully captured in this single frame.
Thank you.
We have Dirtiman, who's joined us finally, the most elusive species. So, any other jury members, anything you want to add?
Yeah, Chaitanya, first of all, Anisha, I didn't realize that it was taken in the night, first of all. So that's quite something. Another thing is that what you mentioned towards the end may not be entirely true, that tiger density is going up impacts leopard populations in forests, because they both are very different sizes, and they feed on differently sized animals. And so they can partition their activity time and also the prey to survive and exist and proliferate in the same forest. So the best tiger habitats are most often the best leopard habitats in the wild.
I think we have lost Anish.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Shivang, also, if you can join us. Yes, I think you unmuted yourself, but we couldn't hear you earlier. We still can't hear you there, Shivang. Dirtiman, over to you, since you joined now and missed the earlier part of the announcements.
Yeah. I was just out of network. I just got the network now.
So we'll wait for Anish. So Chaitanya, congratulations again. I think I think this image will also be really useful in educating people about leopards and how they make home in urban areas, and really that they're not a big threat for and people, at least.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chaitanya.
Thank you.
And the winner in the conservation category, the winning image goes to Supan Dilshan from Sri Lanka. This just broke our heart. I mean, it just seeing this image just broke our heart. And Supan can join us on the call. But Supan, before I go to you, I think I just want some comment. Like Nandini had really few points to say about this image, and I'll let others speak before we give it to you.
Sure, sure.
Supun, many congratulations and thank you for telling this very, very important story about the threats of linear infrastructure in our forest. Because forests in India too, there have been studies that show that at least 70% of protected areas that have been assessed have some sort of linear infrastructure that has been passing through them. And also, there's been because of linear infrastructure projects, the large tracts of forest that we also have, there's also been a reduction in the size of these forests, and forests are basically becoming fragments and bits and pieces. So thank you very much for taking this very important image, and it is an image that tells a very important story for this time, especially when we are even looking at budgets allocation in India, and how there's been an increase, I think, by 68,000 kilometers for new railway tracks across the country. And from Sri Lanka, you're also showing us a very important story for our country as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. And I need to tell this about this picture. I really sad for this situation in our country, and every country we can see there are lots of elephant accident and killing, and any lots of human compete face to the elephant. So in this picture, I get this picture around 50 kilometer from my hometown, and I really sad to hear this news. And I go and I get some drone shot from there.
Thank you, Supan. We want you to hang on the call
Sure, sure.
because we also have our last category, which is portfolio. We call this the photographer of the year because what we really care for is it's not a single image sometimes, but a series of images which really conveys a conservation issues. And Supan, we want to congratulate you for winning this category as well with your amazing photo story called Fab Between Worlds. Here are some of the images from the portfolio story that you submitted, which really captures different aspects of elephant conservation. And this probably, I know it's shot mostly in Sri Lanka, but it's relevant for big parts across Southeast Asia. So, Supan, congratulations for being the photographer of the year, Nature in Focus. Again, before I let you speak, I want to let other jury members speak, Shivang, Ditiman, Anish, because one of the things with portfolio is that we got stories from around the world, really touching images from research to conservation to animal behavior. But for us also, this particular story stood out from day one, and we also primarily being based out of India. This is a issue that really resonates with pretty much every jury member out here. So, Anish, over to
So
you.
yeah, congratulations. Um, it's a very sad that development is at loggerheads with spaces that these wild animals live in. Their space has already been shrinking by the hour because of forest degradation, a lot of other anthropogenic reasons. But this new um, threat of linear infrastructure, both roads, railways, actually even canal systems and power lines, they in countries like in developing countries like Sri Lanka and India, we are only going to see more of these. And so the areas where in fact, in Sri Lanka is luckier, you have much larger forests and more contiguous forests than we have in India. But in the coming 2 decades, your country will also be crisscrossed by many more 6-lane, 4-lane roads. In India, we are building 23 kilometers of 4 and 6-lane highway per day, and this will go up to 44 kilometers. So this is one of the biggest threats to wildlife if it is not mitigated. No conservationist is against development, but we do know the importance of species for the survival of human beings and for the sanctity of ecosystems. So, because they are drivers of stability of ecosystems, anything that we do which hampers that equilibrium is not favored, and that's the only reason why conservationists keep talking about striking a balance between development and conservation. And I'm proud to say that in India there are some successful stories and mitigation structures have come up on both highways and railways, and there are many more that are going to come in the future. However, it by no means the animals are secure, because this is also a phenomena which is uh, you know just localized. Some states are doing it better than many others, and so going forward this is going to be the biggest challenge. So for people like you who love photography, to go out there and shoot something which is so relevant for today, for not only elephants but also frogs, snakes, even beetles and butterflies that get killed in millions because of these linear infrastructure. I think it's extremely important to capture this, and I congratulate you on behalf of all the photographers who have gone out there and tried to look at conservation stories. And there were so many other stories that were very good, but because of the relevance and of this and the size of the problem, it's an elephant size problem, and so we thought that this is an apt winner. So congrats, everybody. And now the mic is for Dittiman or any other person want to add to this.
Yeah,
Thank you
Shivang,
so much.
Ditaman, if you guys want to add. Nandini, I'll come to you. Ditaman, over to you. Shivang, we can't hear you for some reason.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I missed a lot of things, but this is an important category. And as I said always, that it is all about connecting the disconnected. And especially for the conservation, what is more important is how much impact we can bring with the help of the images, which will, you know, because the number of disconnected people is so high, so this image will go back and connect a good number of people. And these images have a clear message of something where we are responsible for something, like the image, the last we saw, I mean the elephant and the railway track taken with a drone. So that's a very graphic and very clear image, where it shows the we who think we are the smartest species on earth, and because of us lot of these things are happening. And that means this image can tell the rest of the world what we have done. We can modify it. Our responsibility is to modify our actions. So these images, we need to convey that message. And I just add a little changes with what Anish said about the development and conservation. So I must say that conservation is development. When we are not doing conservation, it is not development. Development is inclusive of conservations. I mean, it is not a separate. They are not words. They are very much embedded. I mean, conservation is embedded with the development. So these fantastic images. Thank you for submitting and congratulations.
Thank you, Ditaman. Supan, so congratulations again. And I also have a question for you. What made you
Yeah,
choose to tell that whole story? I mean, I'm sure that you had to wait for months and years to actually tell this story. So it was instead of that one image, what made you
yeah.
follow the elephants and tell that complete story?
Yeah, in our country there are so much elephant around the villages, so they try to get foods and water for their life, and the problem is the uh, very uh, land is very is more while the human conflict, the land is lost their for habitat. So they are walking to the railway track and walking to the village tanks and walk into the roads and everywhere. After that, they were accident in railway tracks and also in road, and they lost their life in without any without any problem. So I need to say we are also I'm 24 years old member, and I need to say I always try to protect these animals, which I can do with social media and everywhere with my own work. So that's my story.
Thanks a lot, Supan. And that's inspiring to know at the young age you've been able to do some amazing, phenomenal work. And we only look forward to all the amazing things you can do. So before we end this, Nandini, I want you to conclude this conservation category, and probably like this is the last of the thing, but about the contest and these winning
So,
images.
thank you so much.
Thank you, Supan. Nandini, you're on mute. You need to unmute yourself.
Thanks, Kalyan, and thank you everyone for all the fantastic images that you all have sent through. I think that one important thing that it's important for us to keep in mind that conservation of the natural world in terms of the threats that it faces and the magnitude of the threats that it faces is really a storytelling challenge. And I would say one of the most urgent storytelling challenges of our times. And I do feel whether we are writing, painting, taking photographs, this is some of the most important work that we can do. And we need to keep doing it with a greater sense of urgency and also be careful about how we do it.
Thank you, Nandini, and thank you everybody for tuning in. And from on behalf of Nature and Focus team, I want to apologize again for delaying in announcing these results. Like you said, we always have a. It's always nice to meet people in person and celebrate these images together. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it this year, but we will actually repeat this. Of course, we will have a physical event this festival this year. So we will hope to continue that. I really want to thank all the jury members, Anish, Dittiman, Shivang, Nandini, Malaika, who had to leave us earlier, for sitting through those multiple rounds and multiple fights, and good fights. And but I think what stood out for us is that year after year, people are pushing their boundaries, both in storytelling, but also being able to capture visuals in a completely new way. So we want to thank everybody who's participated, and I want to thank Saloni, who's been handling all the back end and coordinating with photographers. Thank you, Saloni, for all the work with the jury as well. Rohit, unfortunately, I think is not there anymore on the call. I want to thank Rohit. And any parting comments? I just want one parting comments from all of you. Shivang, if you can also join in, that'll be great. Can hear you a little bit, I think, Shivang. Unfortunately, no. Others, Dittiman, Anish.
Datiman, go ahead.
Anish always wants to have the final word, so.
What you said, Kullan?
I said Anish will always want to have the final word, so.
Yeah. No. I mean, can you hear me?
No. He said to make a parting statement of 3 words.
Okay.
3 words.
You say it first, Anish. I will come later.
Okay. Anyways, it's been a pleasure to be part of the jury and also sift through so many images. And there is a conservation story in all images, actually. When you put all of them together into a story, yes, it's a separate category. But when I look at any image, for instance, the mabulare and the killer whale, was it? Uh, that kind of image is also a story. There is a story behind all images, and now with this in this era where one species is dominating the world, um, every image will mean different things to different people. So I would say congratulations to NIF for allowing, for giving this, uh, this particular uh, opportunity to people from all over the world to tell their stories, and especially because NIF is in India, uh, it will allow people to learn from this, and it feels very good to see that people from Sri Lanka are doing exceedingly well, and not only in this year but in several years now. So kudos to them, and this encourages people from other places and like Nepal, and I'm sure there's wildlife in so many other Southeast Asian countries. So hopefully, NIF will be able to reach out to those photographers as well. So all the best for future editions, and hopefully we can have an in-person ceremony next year, because it means a lot for winners to be there on the stage and tell their own stories. I mean, online is the second best option, but I think you must start making sure that next year we are able to meet in person in Bangalore. So all the
Absolutely.
best to and Saloni, congratulations for putting all these things together.
Thank you.
Ritiman, over to you.
Yes. So, apology for saying the same thing again and again. I just can modify a little bit, but again, I want to say that we cannot compare images. So, we are, as judge, we are very much privileged that we got a chance to see all the images, and I can say like lot of learning from. I mean, I got to know a lot of issues, lot of natural history moments, lot of way of seeing the compositions. I mean, how people are making a difference. So we got a chance to see all these images, and who actually came as like what we say winner. I don't love to say winner because everyone who is going out and taking images of nature for to make a difference and bringing impact, everyone is a winner. So for me it's not like I don't want to compare. So whoever has not seeing them as a winner, I am saying you are the winner. So do participate, do go out and do take photos. Actually it is helping us, I mean helping the world to think more about nature. So again it is like like the who are out, everyone is a for me is a like a great people who are helping us to learn a lot and to know more about it. So thank you, and do participate every time. So it is not about competition. We are not actually selecting. It is just fun. Just take it as a fun. It is not that we are saying that someone is better than other. We all are great and all are making a difference. So congratulations to all the participants.
Spoke like a true guru, Nirtama. Thank you. Nandini, any final thoughts you have? The contest and how's big?
Yeah, I think there's just this essay I come back to about what is education for. And many times they say we don't need more engineers, we don't need more experts, we don't need more doctors, but we need more healers, storytellers, peacemakers. And that's just something that I think is a good return for all of us to go out and, like Dhritiman said, tell stories about the natural world that are beyond a single species.
Thank you everyone for tuning in so late. And I really want to thank the jury members for going through all these images. And I just want to reiterate what Dhritiman also said is that, unfortunately we have to pick one image over the other, but every image was breathtaking. Every image had a story to tell. And I can vouch for all jury members that we will learn so much about natural world and conservation just going through these images. So some of these other images also over the next few weeks and months through Nature in Focus, we'll be publishing these images on our social media platform for people to see. So thank you again, and congratulations to all the winners, special mentions, and all the participants from around the world. Thank you again, and hope to see you all next year in person in Bangalore.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.